submitted for your approval, a little podcast by your brother and sister. Their mission? To find out what belongs on your shelf. Their journey will take them into strange and enormous paths, down the very annals of time immemorium. But for now, they found themselves trapped in the Twilight Zone.
Bunkos. Again.
You do look a little pale.
Yeah, there's like a weird door with a light behind it. I don't know.
Really probably should not have pulled off the road right now.
Probably not.
Are we back? We're back in the damn zone again.
I don't know how we keep ending up here. It's ridiculous.
It's because we keep taking that damned shortcut. Or what we think is the shortcut.
Well, it's supposed to be the shortcut. There was a sign that said shortcut. That's why we follow it.
Well, that's the problem. But this is an extended journey. And we should know as Shelf Life, our true fans know that you can only take shortcuts after you go the full length.
The full route?
And then you can take the shortcut. That's right.
That's true.
Oh, boy. So I guess this means that we've got to do more of these, huh?
Yeah, I think that
right.
You know, we're in that atmosphere now. We might as well. I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't think this is a shortcut at all.
Oh, hang on. There seems to be some sort of piece of paper over here. Check it out. Okay. So, apparently, Rachel, this is the main event of Volume 4. I am Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast where a brother and sister team always sell their souls to the devil, making sure that there is an escape clause. But also go through... Rachel didn't like that one. Also go through pop culture one at a time to make sure that you are really prevalent about those contracts. You have to make sure that you read those contracts. That's the problem. You sign a Faustian deal like that, and you just don't know what you're getting yourself signed in. We have a lot to talk about with that particular episode.
Probably.
So, no, we don't do any of that. What we do here is we go through pop culture one at a time to determine whether or not the subject at hand belongs on your shelf, be that digital or physical. Rachel, I said it. It is the main event. We have come to the end of Volume 4.
That's right. Soft main. You know.
Well, this was a big volume. We had
volume.
X-Men, we had E.T., we had Paddington.
Paddington's the best.
Da Vinci Code, Animal Farm. I mean, there's between E.T. or X-Men could have main evented. For sure. And we have something special for you today. A 2-part main event. We're doing 4 episodes of... What are we covering here today, Rachel? What will we be covering over the next 2 shows?
We will be discussing The Twilight Zone, Season 1, Episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
Today is just 5 and 6. But
So what are those episodes?
We will be talking about Walking Distance and Escape Clause.
That's correct. So, folks at home, if you did not listen to our... I don't know if you can hear any of the thunder in the background, but we are in the Twilight Zone. There's all sorts of weird weather happenings. God knows what's going to happen. Rachel's black and white across from me right now. I don't even know how she discolored herself.
My full body, complete saturation is all gone. When you said, submitted for your... something, I was like, for the Midnight Society, all I kept thinking was, are you afraid of the dark?
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Yes.
I think they took it from
they must
Surly.
have, but at the same time, that's what popped into my head when you said,
well, because you're right.
In
this first season, he doesn't do the submitted for your approval. There is a 5th dimension.
Yeah, he does the 5th dimension.
That's how he starts it out. Yeah. So this was the first ones that I watched the Blu-ray on, and there's commentaries, and they said that.
Was this the one? No, I had commentary on something else. Sorry, go ahead.
In the first episode, he had written the script to do his little narration, and he said in the 6th dimension, and they were like, Rod? I think there's only 4 dimensions, and he was like, oh, whatever.
It's like, well, this one's the sixth dimension. Wrap your head around that one. It's not even the fifth dimension.
If you did not listen to the first part of our Twilight Zone series, part of the overall journey, the journey into the Twilight Zone, brought to you by Shelf Life, we did do an episode on the Twilight Zone. All 4 of those episodes that we covered in Volume 1 are shortcuts. So even if you just want to pick and choose your way through those, they'll all be there for you. There might be shortcuts from this too, but, true believers have to go through the whole thing. We did some history about the Twilight Zone. We've talked about our feelings about the Twilight Zone. I will say we picked this as the main event because we looked at the lineup of these episodes, and in particular, I looked at the lineup of these episodes, and I was like, oh, these are pretty influential.
That's what you made it sound like.
No, I'm saying, like, I remember looking at these, and we said... Even back in Volume 1, because I think we even said back in Volume 1, this might be a main event slot.
It does kind of feel like
depending on what it is. And we've done some big stuff for those of you that are coming in new. Go back and look at what we've done in Volume 4. We had some big hitters, some potential other ones that you could consider a main event. But we decided to put this in the back slot. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's a joke. We say it's like the main event. It's just something that we're trying to do that's bigger. When we do this last show of the volume, we're looking for it, and I'm going, oh man, I know what happens in all 4 of these by other pop culture osmosis, whether that's The Simpsons or Futurama or Saturday Night Live or anything that has homaged Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Right. Yeah, that I was just mentioning.
There's a million. Like, these episodes in particular, I think, do a lot of that, and or have a significant piece of art when it comes to the Twilight Zone. So that's why we're doing this one as the main event, or the co-main here for Volume 4. So the first episode that we are covering here is Walking Distance. It is the 5th episode of the Twilight Zone. Rachel, do you have any prior history of this episode, and what is this episode about?
I feel like I've seen, like, the episodes of Twilight Zone before. I don't know if I have, like, a lot of, like, remembrance or, like, nostalgia for it, but I just, like, remember watching it. The episode...
Nostalgia, a key word for this particular episode.
That's actually very true. Because what we go through is this man goes back to his hometown and is just kind of reliving the nostalgia. He's going to, like, all the different places that he used to visit. And what we find out is he didn't just go back to his hometown. He went back in time.
Yeah, we've done a lot of time travel here in Volume 4. Right? Like, we did Doctor Who's time travel. Yes. Philadelphia Experiment is time travel. Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
Here we are. The other reason that this is the last episode... Or Paddington, time travel, of course. The other reason that this is the last show that we're doing is all 4 of these episodes kind of tie everything up thematically.
Weirdly.
Like, every single one of these, you can go back and say, like, oh, this one is about nostalgia and time travel, and they talked about E.T. and Philadelphia Experiment and Doctor Who. Like, the next one is about Faustian deals and being immortal and all of this stuff, and you can go, oh, there's X-Men in there, there's Animal Farm is in it, there's
weird. It all ties together in a neat little package.
Thank you, Homer. So we need to just get a soundboard so that every time we need to say that, we can just have Homer going, oh, it ties it up into a neat little package then.
It wasn't being sarcastic.
So, I'm sorry, I stopped you from being able to say your history and or what Walking Distance is about. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you didn't.
Oh, no, you did. Oh, that's right.
Kevin has gone loopy. And I guess it's just the Twilight Zone. Woo! We already did it.
Yeah, whatever. So, yes. So when it comes to Walking Distance, I think I explained in the first part of when we talked about Twilight Zone, which, folks at home, for us recording it, that was like 2 years ago. So I don't...
You don't have to tell them that. They don't know. They don't know when we record.
Well, I mean, the episode, like, compared to when this
Oh, yeah,
episode came
true.
out, it's almost 2 years ago, even.
That's
So,
you're not
so it
wrong.
actually might have been 3 years ago.
Oh, good lord.
I think I talked about how I watched all of them as an adult because when they all went to Netflix, I started watching them.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
remember
I remember doing
watching
that, too.
Walking Distance and being like, "Oh my god, this is a great one." And that was it. And that would have been like 10, 15 years ago. So I don't remember. I just don't remember. You know, that's the reason. That's the point of Shelf Life. You go back and you see what's the truth about it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's my history with it. Is I know I watched it that one time, and I don't remember anything else. I will say this: for Christmas, Grandma gave me the Blu-ray of the Twilight Zone, the full series, a big ass
Look at that.
set.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. So now I've got that in hand. Thanks, Grandma. So then we can go through this. She's listening, and she just went, "You're welcome."
I could tell.
So,
I could tell.
So
She totally would.
I watched this with commentary as well. So an interesting thing about the Blu-ray is that most of these episodes of the quote-unquote classics, so Escape Clause did not have commentary, most of these episodes have
why.
commentary, and they have commentary for different things. This one had like 3 different commentary tracks. One was like people breaking down the score, one was people breaking down the writing, and then they also had one where Rod Serling was giving a lecture at a college, and in particular, he was breaking down this episode with students, and they were doing like question and answer back. He was so very critical of this episode.
Wow.
He thinks that his writing was bad
Oh,
in this episode.
interesting.
And I'll point out as we go through some of his complaints about it, but he thinks that he did a very bad job of, he thinks it was too much exposition. He thinks that he flipped what should have happened at the end of Act 3. It happens at the end of Act 1. And all of this like stuff happens out of order. I don't disagree with his points.
Sure.
If it affects whether or not it's on the shelf, we'll see. But it was interesting to actually hear that commentary, Rachel. Honestly, Rachel, the next time that you're at my house, you'll have to watch it. Because it is interesting, because
Okay.
it's a different kind of commentary. Because it's him going like, now this scene is... I just did a terrible job, because why would he ever say that to the gas station attendant? And then there's like these like people in the audience being like, well, maybe this or that, or like, what did you think, this or that? And he's like, no. And then he like complains about the time travel aspect, and he's like, I can't give you an answer about time travel. It's time travel. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous or whatever. Yeah, he was pretty critical about it, but his daughter said that this was one of his favorite episodes, because it was about him.
This was his
And if
favorite
you-
episode, or this was her favorite episode?
Well, this was her favorite episode, but she thought that it was also one that he held close to his heart because it was about
Because it was
him.
about him.
Or at least she thinks it was
So
about
maybe that's
him.
why he's so critical of it.
That's what I was
too-
thinking
It's so
too.
close to home for him, so he's just so critical of it.
He wants to make it perfect.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we can relate to that. We've held off a bunch of subjects because we're like, no, we're not good enough yet.
It's
we have to get better at this.
It's true.
So
And hey,
we're like,
even
we
our
can't do that
first
yet.
stuff, it's very good and better than, just saying.
So yeah, his daughter thought that this was a very personal story for him, because she even said that her dad would have them go to his hometown every year. They would do a vacation there. It seemed like that
wow.
was like
So he is
his-
very nostalgic.
I think he does always feel very nostalgic. I think that was something that Rod Serling was very aware of about himself. And I think that's why the message is almost something where he would have to remind himself about. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that's why she thought, like, it's... Maybe you're right. Maybe that's why he was so critical of it, because to him, this was like... He needed to have it right,
Yes.
And he always felt like he could have done a better
It was
job
so
of
close
it.
to him, so close to like home, so
Yeah.
close to his heart, that it was like, this has to be right. It's not just a story.
Right. And in the themes of what this is about, which is there's a lot of nostalgia, going home again, wishing that you could relive the past, making up for lost time, all of that kind of stuff is done in the Twilight Zone a bunch.
yeah.
Like, it's clearly like something that Rod Serling thinks
It's a
about.
theme.
It's a theme. This episode aired on October 30th, 1959, written by Rod Serling and directed by Robert Stevens. The music in this, for the first time, was an original score by Bernard Herrmann. So instead of it being parts of Herrmann's old scores that he would repurpose, he made an entire new score. I think that it assists this very well. As we go through, I will point that out. But, Rachel, let us get right into Walking Distance. So we get the typical opening. This guy in a Corvette, or at least an expensive car for the 1950s, right? I couldn't tell like the brand or anything, but it's like a Roadster or something. Yeah.
The top is down.
The top is down. Yeah. This guy flies up to a gas station. He's in a fancy car.
Jackass.
Well, because of the dust coming all over him,
not just
and like because he came in so hard that there's dust all over him. Yeah.
But
he honks angrily.
Up. And he honks, and then he honks and he honks and honks and honks. It's like, dude. even the gas attendant guy is just like, dude.
Yeah.
Do you want to quiet down a little bit?
Yeah, like, all right, dial it back a little bit here,
yes.
Rich guy. I mean, he does, we get the narrative here. Martin Sloan, age 36. Actually, I guess should I say what the opening narration
go
was
ahead.
here?
We can do that.
Okay, I'll let you do the closing narration, Rachel.
Sounds good.
Martin Sloan, age 36, occupation, vice president, ad agency, in charge of media. This is not just a Sunday drive for Martin Sloan. He perhaps doesn't know it at the time, but it's an exodus. Somewhere up the road, he's looking for sanity, and somewhere up the road, he'll find something else. Commercial. Buy these cigarettes. So that's the narration that we get. I always find it so bizarre that all of these characters are like in their mid-30s, and look, we've discussed this on other episodes.
So old.
I'm in my mid-30s. I know that millennials think that they look younger than they do because they do look slightly younger than they actually
because
are.
The older generation looked older at their same age.
But this fucking generation in the 50s, this guy does not look 36. Okay? He does not look 36.
50? Like, he's got to be 50.
Let me see how old this guy was. So this is a future Academy Award winning actor playing Martin Sloan, Gig Young. Gig Young was born in 1913, which would have made him, he would have been, 40, 46, 47? So you're not that far off, Rachel.
So I wasn't wrong. He actually is.
I don't know how he's...
He looks his age then. But they made him play such a younger character.
Yeah. So he's just playing way younger.
We're fine then. That's fine.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is not Martin Sloan, Gig Young's fault, unlike something else I'll get into but when we get to the end of the episode. This is a weird... Everyone's 36 years old because that's how old I am. I look like I'm also 45 because I smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day. The fact that Rod Serling was 36 years old and had his own television show really makes me feel like I've done nothing with my life. I have my own podcast.
A little inadequate.
And I share it with my little sister.
He calls me his little sister, and I'm also old. So it's like... it's just
like
truth.
The Lewis Black joke. When he's like, I'm 70 years old, and my mother still thinks she's my mother!
I mean, that's just the truth. That's just how it will be.
So this guy is like, yeah, I can take care of your car and stuff. And Martin clearly is burnt out from his job. He hates adult life. That's what we get from this. The stresses of adult life are just weighing him down. He can't stand it. He doesn't want to be in any more board meetings or any of this bullshit, and he can't take it, so he just... And what a luxury. I mean,
his hair can't take it either. I mean, that kind of just, showed everything.
He kept trying.
He was
so
sweating. He was all over the place. They were like, hold on, we gotta get you back into makeup for a second. And then when he gets out of the car, he looks just fine. But it's just in that car, he is so disheveled.
He's very disheveled. This guy's like, yeah, I can do your oil change. Takes about an hour. And Sloan sees a sign for Homewood up ahead. This is where the dialogue... This is what Serling was like, it's like it being cringy about like something that you wrote and you know it's not as good as you wanted it to be, right? He's talking like, oh yeah, I couldn't stand any more of these board meetings. I was gonna go crazy. I'm from New York and I couldn't take it anymore. And in the commentary, Serling's like, why the hell would he be telling this to the gas station attendant?
This man just has a running narration coming out of his own mouth the entire time. It's just like his inner monologue is constantly on the outside.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you have to convey it some way, but I actually think if he would have said nothing, and then he actually does this expository dump in the drugstore later, it would have been better. Because it would have made more sense in that context to be, because when the druggist asks him, where are you from? And he says New York, then he can go into the spiel about how he hates being a vice president. It's so much work and stress.
Probably worked better.
Yeah, then like why is he telling the gas station dude?
And here he just has to look kind of like contemplative, maybe say to the guy like, oh, that's not too far of a walk, I'm gonna head over there, right?
Yeah.
Just to be like, then I'll be like walking back, you know.
Right. But the dialogue here is a little
corny?
Bad.
Goofy?
Well, because he's like, Homewood, huh? I used to live there. I remember that. It felt like a
And he says
Seinfeld
25
parody.
years ago, and I was like, what, he was 10? Did you move when you were 10? Or
No, he said he was there up through primary school.
Okay.
So like I was thinking that they would have moved like when he was like 16 or something, like maybe right after high school.
Maybe it was definitely more of that 20 years if he's supposed to be 36 or whatever.
Yeah. He's like, oh, a mile and a half up the road, huh? I used to live there. And he like repeats himself. He like says it twice. And then the gas station guy's like, yep, mile and a half up the road. And he's like, that's walking distance, isn't it? And he's like, yep, about a mile and a half. And it's like they repeat themselves. They didn't need to say it twice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the dialogue is kind of hokey at this part. I don't like it.
But it sets you up. It sets you up for what he's gonna do. He's gonna walk into the hometown because it's gonna be about an hour. So he's like, all right, I'll walk to the hometown. I'll take a look around.
You mean an hour up the road? You know, he's got like the mile and a half up the road to his hometown because he used to live there.
Road. Yep, I used to live there. Hometown, half mile up the road. Yep, hour.
That's
hour
walking distance.
So he walks to Homewood.
You know that mile and a half up the road. I'm sorry, I had to do it again.
A mile and a half up the road. Yep, about a mile and a half. So he goes, it's like, yeah, we know it's a mile and a half. The fucking sign says that. It felt like in the radio play they'd have to say that. Yes. You don't have to say that on the television version.
Right.
So he goes into the drugstore from his youth, and he asks for a 3-scoop chocolate soda, which I really want right now.
It sounds so good.
I really want a 3-scoop chocolate soda.
Yes.
What is a chocolate soda? What's the difference between a chocolate soda and a chocolate milkshake?
Isn't that what it is?
Is it just a milkshake?
Isn't it like a root beer float? But like, isn't it like a root beer float?
That's what I was assuming. It's like a root beer float. Because I was like, it's got to be like carbonated, right? Like a little bit of like there's carbonation.
I assume it's like a Coke or something in it.
Okay.
And then they're putting in the ice cream inside. So I think it's like a root beer float.
Okay. I always think about This is a very random and specific reference. There's a Mystery Science Theater episode called Squirm. Do you remember this one, Rachel?
Sounds familiar.
About the worms, about the killer worms.
I kind of assumed it was about worms because it's called Squirm.
And the nerdlinger from New York that's from out of town goes into this bar and he asks for an egg cream. And the waitress is like, an egg cream? And he's like, it's a chocolate soda with a little something something. And I was like, why did you think this town would know this? Who would know this? Anyway. Oh, Rachel's looking it up. She's got to find out what an egg cream is.
Well, an egg cream, a cold beverage consisting of milk, carbonated water, flavored syrup as a substitute for an ice cream float. So it is like it's just an ice cream float. It's just a float.
What's a chocolate soda?
Hold on.
You're just like, there's a lot less information about this chocolate soda.
Well, because it came up as like 4 different names, so then I got really confused. It's soda, water, syrup, and a scoop of ice cream.
So it's the same thing as the egg cream,
It's just
right?
a float. Yeah, an egg cream, a chocolate soda, a float. They're all the same thing. It's like a carbonated thing with some ice cream in it.
Okay.
There you go.
So it truly is one of those things that is like, Yeah, it sounded pretty good. Going into the summer and getting yourself a nice chocolate soda. 3 scoops. It was only 10 cents back then.
That's right. And this old man is just like, uh-huh.
Yeah, the old man in this is so, like, unassuming. Like, just let this guy talk, whatever. It's a slow day.
This is also
So
the
he tells him
same. This is the same location as one of the other, like the earlier episodes, right? Because it's got the big old mirror. It's the soda shop. It's the guy who
does
like
look like-
walks through the
it looks like
town
the one
that's
in-
deserted, right?
Yeah. It looks like they just shifted the cameras and where is everybody, and
Yeah.
they made it sit on the right
Okay.
side instead of the left
Okay.
side. It
Because
definitely
I was
does
just
look
like, this
that.
mirror looks so familiar.
Rachel was getting nostalgia for the mirror.
That's all.
She was like,
Just
you know,
love
I've
this
seen
mirror."
this mirror before. I've seen this before. 3 episodes ago, I think. Back in the day, we used to do we did a shelf life on the first 4 episodes of Twilight Zone. Yeah, those were
Those were the
good times.
Good times. Yeah.
good
yeah.
times. You get a
Feels like
Big
we went
Mac
back
for
in the
$4.50 back then. or
Yeah, now
whatever.
it's like $6 or $8.
You get a Taco Bell craving box for $5. It's $10 now.
My
So
God.
anyway, he tells this guy that he looks familiar, and the guy's like, yeah, I have that kind of face. And he's like, yeah, I spent a lot of time here 20 years ago. This was my shop. I spent so much time. He takes a piece of candy out of the thing. I wish that you could just go into a store and just get candy. I guess you can get lollipops at a diner, but that's about it.
True.
Like
They don't
even the
have,
candy,
like,
I was
here's
like,
the bucket
oh,
of
like a little
candy.
taffy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good bucket of candy. The guy hands him the soda and
Make
asks
your
for a
own bucket
dime.
of candy.
I guess you're right. I could do that. The guy hands him the soda and asks for a dime. He says no one sells soda for a dime anymore. And he's like, they don't? Where are you from? And this is where he tells him, like,
New York.
you know, I'm from New York and stuff.
And
so it
this
could
is
be
where
possible.
it could have been a perfect spot for it. Yeah. The backstory.
Yes. This is where he could have told his backstory. He's an ad man. His name is Don Draper. He's an executive, and he's stealing.
Don Draper.
But he goes into all of this nostalgia for the place, how much he loves it, how much he loved growing up, and how much he loved living there, and all of this stuff. Being a part of this community and being a kid and all of this. I think that Serling is really trying to make sure that people understand the rose-colored glasses aspect of nostalgia as well.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get into that as much in this episode as he might in some of the other episodes that tackle this as well. This is a lot more rose-tinted than some of those, like Next Stop at Willoughby and things like that. But this guy is very full of nostalgia
Yes.
for his hometown.
He's very full of nostalgia just for his childhood and his past. And I think it's just from the stress of being an adult.
Right. He expects Mr. Wilson just to be sleeping in the stockroom like he always did before he died. Serling thought that the druggist does not seem to have like a
He doesn't have any
reaction?
comment. Is he just like kind of like, okay,
I think that the actor looks at him kind of funny,
but
like
he doesn't have
"What?"
anything to say. Like
Yeah, or any like reaction to it.
what do you
sure.
mean dead?
Slow-
He's up there right now.
Yeah.
Like he has nothing to say.
He should at least like side eye it a little bit
Yeah.
or something.
I guess they don't really show his face enough for us to really get his reaction. They are zoomed in on this man's face while he's having his thoughts. It's only when they like come back out when he gives them the money that he's kind of just like just kind of staring at him like he doesn't
Yep.
really have thoughts
Yeah.
or emotions. And then he gives him $1 and he goes, that's a whole $1. And it's like, yep.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, keep it. It was worth it. It's fine. What we learn later is that a lot of the money that he has is from after that, the current year that he's been sucked into.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably just got this guy like arrested for some sort of fraud or money scam or something.
Oh no.
What ends up happening is after he leaves, the guy behind the counter goes up to check on Mr. Wilson. He opens the container. He sees that they're out of chocolate syrup.
Yes.
He goes upstairs and he goes, Mr. Wilson, we need more chocolate syrup. And there's this like old man sitting there. He looks like it reminded me of like that character in The Simpsons that crap, I shouldn't have told him it was illegal. Like he's like I thought he was gonna be sitting there like fanning himself.
He does kind of look
falling
like that. He's
asleep
got like a
'cause it's
white
too
suit
hot.
on. He's like the KFC
Yeah.
guy. He's like the Colonel.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
And all this guy tells him is like, we need more chocolate syrup. And he's like, I'll order some this afternoon. And that's the end of it.
Yep.
Now, in the lecture, somebody points out to Serling that he thought that the guy was just waiting for Serling to leave. Or not Serling, was waiting for Sloane to leave so that he could go check on Mr. Wilson. Like, he was going to check if he was alive because he was, like, dead.
Oh,
and
like
so he's like, I better go check on him.
Is he dead?
Yeah. And Serling, even in the lecture, like, laughs and is like, is that what you thought I was going to do? And he's like, that would have been better. So, like, yeah, that would have been better.
Because he would have had, like, some reaction to this man coming in and talking, like, what's happening now is the past is weird.
Right.
So it's just, like, you'd think he would have had a reaction. He had nothing. The man doesn't even like his job, apparently, because he's just, like, completely zoned out.
I figured he owned the place. So he's just the owner.
Oh, fair.
And so, like, he's just this, like, lazy owner. And, like, Ralph or whoever this guy is, you know, basically running the place. Mm-hmm. This 75-year-old man is the ice cream scooper. But it is our most obvious clue that something is weird. And then he starts just walking around the neighborhood. I think that the score does a very good job of making you feel like this is a welcoming environment. It's a very warm score by Bernard Herrmann.
It's not like a creepy or anything.
It's not his
weird
usual
is happening. Yeah, it's kind of just like, oh, you're getting
very
that
fluffy
warmth of nostalgia, that warmth of going home.
It really does its job, and it really does its job in the third act. People are all walking around. A lot more people are walking around the neighborhood than probably should, but I guess it's a Sunday. But like, it's populated again. Love the sets of like small town USA that the Twilight Zone always uses. It
oh my god!
Just looks like a place that never existed and never will.
Right.
But everyone thinks it did.
Yes.
And then we get this little kid playing with Aggies.
Kid. Who's just
Rachel.
Hi.
This little kid making his second appearance technically in Volume 4.
Fair.
Do you know who it is?
I don't remember.
It's little Ronnie Howard. So I guess we get the director of Da Vinci Code. So I guess we can say technically Ron Howard, Two-Timers Club here in Volume 4.
Oh my god.
Welcome. Little Ronnie Howard is playing this little kid.
That's fine, but it's still a little odd that this child who is playing with his marbles turns around to say hello to this weird man walking down the street talking to himself.
It's the 30s, Rachel.
Still.
No, that was a thing. If an adult passed you by and you were a child, you were obligated to say, hello, sir, how was your day?
You're right.
Or they actually, back in the 30s, they would just take out a switch.
Yeah.
And they could do whatever they wanted. So, you know. Because, like, remember, in, like, the teens and 20s, George Bailey's getting his ears boxed by that guy.
That was horrendous.
So he sits down and he starts playing with Ron Howard. He's talking about marbles, and they talk about how, I used to play marbles as a kid and all of this stuff, and how we used to give them names and everything. And Ron Howard's like, yeah, we still do that. That's what we do. I'm pretty good at Aggies and everything.
Then he gets, like, awkward. Like, why are you talking to me? You're the one who instigated this conversation, child. Why did you say hello to this old man?
Okay, first, no. I'm not going to blame Ronnie Howard in this situation, Rachel.
I'm like, why'd you pick up my marble? Like, how dare you?
Because he's a little kid.
I'm just saying.
Hi to people randomly.
I guess.
You go for a walk in your neighborhood and a little kid's like in a stroller or just walks by.
All right, you're fine. You're right. You're right. And they only wave at me because I have a dog. So.
Yeah. You wave back. Maybe they say hi. Maybe they say something. But that's the
I know, but this 30, 40, 50-year-old man comes and sits down with this kid and he starts talking to him. And the kid's just like, what is up with this guy? He's so weird. Because now he's like telling me his life story. Then he's like, you live... Because then the guy goes, you see that house over there? Used to live there. He goes, the Sloan house? And he's like, yeah. You still call it that?
That was a perfect voice. You sounded just like Ron Howard. You sound like Ryan Howard now.
It's really true. And then so the guy says his name is Martin Sloan, right? Martin Sloan. And the kid erupts. He is offended by this man saying that he is his friend's name. How dare you say you're Marty Sloan? I know Marty Sloan, and you're not Marty Sloan.
Sloan house? You still call it that?
Still call it what?
The Sloan House. My name's Sloan. Martin Sloan. What's yours?
You're not Marty Sloan. I know Marty Sloan, and you're not him.
That's
And
outrageous.
you, sir, are no Marty
That is
Sloan.
blasphemy. And the guy goes, "Let me prove it to you with my license." Kid walks away. So that's like the entire thing. I know, but it's just so funny. He was just so offended. He left all his marbles and walked away. Screw this man who says he's my Marty friend.
It's like little kids would just leave shit in the front yard, you know?
Sure.
I get that. I actually thought that it wasn't that bad of an interaction. For
No,
a
I
little
think it's
kid.
fine.
Like, little
It
kids
just
aren't that like bizarre.
I just think
you know?
the man
They are
is
just-
bizarre. The child is fine. The man is bizarre.
I thought it was weird, and folks at home that are old enough to remember, was this a thing where like each house would be like, oh, that's the old Sloan place. Oh, that's the Wilcox house. Like, is that
Yeah.
a thing where you
Like,
like
you
you knew
still
all the
call
neighbors'
it that?
names? And you called it that? Like, oh, that's the Shelf Life Studios. Like, you're not gonna be calling like that's weird. Like, I just go, that's the neighbor. That's
We did that growing up.
no.
Yes, because you did go by their last names.
I suppose, but like the house itself, I guess like, you know, oh, that's the old Sloan place. Like, I guess if the Sloans were still living there.
I guess if they
But-
lived there for a long enough time and people actually interacted.
You know what though? I'm saying this and I'm thinking back to Halloween and like that's the old Myers
Exactly.
house. So I guess you're right.
Yeah. I think
Alright,
I
fine.
think it's just one of those things where it's either they've lived there forever and so everybody knows who they are. Something happened in that house, i.e. the Myers house, and so now it has like a reputation. You know, so it's like one of those things. We had,
Yep. Or
hell,
or
we had
it's
the
your
murder
friends.
house. We knew. Remember the murder house? We called it the murder house because every time we'd pass
We
it, we're
do
like,
have the
remember
murder
that
house.
that kid murdered his dad or something. It was whatever happened. Like he remembered.
I think it was
that.
the kids murdered the other kids. I think
Okay,
that's what
I
happened in the
think you're
murder
right.
house.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I forgot. Yes. All right, fine. Fine, you've swayed me. So Rachel is right. Martin Sloan acting like a weirdo. Ron Howard, perfectly fine. Houses all have names. Okay, I'm glad that we've
Houses
established
all have
that.
names.
He goes to the park next. This is where the score gets really sentimental. And, you know, for all the faults that Serling says that the script has, and it does, I understand them. I don't disagree with Rod in this case. It's so genuine. The feeling and the way that Gil Young plays it, and just the way that the score and the writing and everything is done, the cinematography and everything, it feels so genuine. It does not feel it anyway. We talked about saccharine stuff in the past, Rachel, where it's like, oh, are they trying to make you feel that emotion? It's not genuine. It feels like they mean it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you really understand how it's like he's pouring the soul into this. Here, they all are,
Sure.
in my opinion. He helps a kid out that's in a tree, and his mom's mad that the kid's in the tree, so he helps him
This
get out
was
of it.
weird
get out of
too.
it.
The man walking through the park, and then he's just like, "All right, I'll come get him. Let me tell him to get out of that tree with you." Like that was weird. This man is a little odd. I'm sorry. But it was just the way that he's like,
thinking,
"Come
"Ah,
on,
it's another guy in
Bobby.
that
Your
tree."
mother's telling you to come down. Come on, Bobby."
Well, yes. In today's day and age, if a man came by and did that, you'd be
No.
like, "Excuse me, but I can take care of it.
Please
Thank
go
you.
away,
Thank
you
Go
creep.
away. Yes, please go away. Go, sir. Sir, I have
no,
my
let
rape
me
whistle
tell you
on me.
about this park, and I'll walk
I
with
will-
you and
I
your
will pepper
baby.
spray you, sir.
The carousel.
Yes.
I know
don't
it's of a
if this
different
is-
time and stuff too, and I've
But
talked
I
to
also
people
don't know
when
if
I
this
go on
is-
walks, so I get it.
I don't know if this is Rod Serling's intention or not, but I could also see this all being a dream.
It
sequence.
feels like a dream.
So in those respects, then you could it's almost like an apology for like you being like, this is fucking weird. Like why, like you're just gonna let this guy, because it's a dream. It's
Yeah.
not, you know.
But it's also
not
one of those
really-
things where it's like sometimes you run into somebody and then you just start talking to them. I've had
Yeah.
that happen. I've definitely had that happen. People always talk to me. I won't be just saying a thing or looking anywhere and someone will just start talking to me. So I get it. I apparently have one of those faces.
I can't say I do. I try to avoid people like the plague, so I can't say that happens. He goes on and on about the past again, this time with this mom who's in her, like, big 1930s summer getup. And he talks about
Showing
how
a little
he
neck,
wrote his...
but nothing else.
Damn right. It's great. He wrote his name, he carved it into a bandstand one summer when he was 11 years old. And then he sees this kid that looks like what he looked like at 11 doing the carving. So he walks over to this bandstand, and he sees himself carving into it. And he asks the kid if he's Martin Sloan, and the kid's like, "Oh, I didn't mean anything about it, Mr. Honest." And he runs off. He's like, "Martin, Martin, Martin!"
Yeah, him yelling, "Martin!" Like, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't just have, like, a, whoa, no, this can't be happening. He just immediately runs after the kid.
That is also part of what Serling doesn't like about it. He's like, I had to keep him calm the entire time because otherwise he would go too crazy too quickly, and then where does it go? Yeah. So he says he did it backwards, and he did. He definitely did it backwards. He should have seen the car first, maybe something else first. Then he sees the kid. He chases the kid home. Then he sees his parents. Mm-hmm. That should have been the sequence of events, because then he can have a freak out.
Right.
It goes in reverse by having him see the kid, see the parents, then see the car, then figure it out because of the car.
But it's like you just saw your parents.
And the only explanation you can give for all this is it is a dream. So he's doing things out of order. He can't remember if it's real or he's sleeping or whatever. And you could even say it's like a daydream because he walked to the town or whatever.
Right. And he's just
so
like
it's all in his
having
head.
all of this happening in his head. Yeah.
So that's possible. I mean, it's still you could have that interpretation of it. It's all just happening in his head. So that's why he goes back and forth on being crazed or thinking like he saw himself or like, not necessarily knowing what's happening and then putting it all together.
Right.
I don't mind having that interpretation of it. So he goes to his parents' house. It really should have been built up to this, like we said.
Yes. He
sees his parents, and he stays calm. Again, that seems like a problem, because they're dead.
Yeah, he's
we know
just
that they died.
A little surprised. He immediately calls him Pop, and then he sees his mom. But then he freaks out. Like,
yes, because he's like, "It's me! I'm Martin! I'm Martin! I'm Martin!"
Yeah.
And they think he's a lunatic.
Which, sure.
He freaks out, and they shut the door on him. Which, yeah, of course you would.
Right.
This 50-year-old man says he's a 36-year-old man and he's your son. At this point, he should be like, what now? What do I do? And while he's doing that, some guy says hi and shows off his new roadster.
That is so random.
Yes.
That this man is just like, hey, look at my car. It's like,
it would make more sense. It would make more sense if he does something after the drugstore.
Yes.
He sees the car and he's like, whoa, I haven't seen a roadster like this in 20 years. Then the guy's like, what do you mean? It's brand new. Don't you like it?
Right.
It's awesome.
That makes a lot more sense.
Then he's like, brand new. And then, but he doesn't like put it together quite yet.
He's like,
just
yeah, okay.
Like
you put it, yeah, like, oh, yeah, you just fixed it up or something. And then he walks to the park.
Yeah.
And then he sees the parents. Yeah.
This should be a symbol that something's going wrong, not the thing that tips him off. Now, one thing about this, Rachel, rumble seats, I think we should bring them back. I think it'd be pretty awesome.
The rumble seat should be brought back?
Doesn't that seem cool? That you pull the seat out like that? You have to like sit in the back?
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of neat.
I don't know about
not necessarily for like highway driving.
Yeah, definitely not highway driving. Even though I have seen many people with either kids or themselves, like adults or animals in the bed of a truck on the highway, and I just go, so dangerous.
Yes. Well, where you live, I could understand that. The guy's like, yeah, it's first car. It's brand new. The car thing is what gives him a clue that, wait a minute, am I in the past? And it's like, well, what did you think was going on before this? Yeah.
They're alive? Like, he goes, you shouldn't be here to the mom. So the dad must still be alive as like an old man. Maybe. But like, he says to the mom, you shouldn't be here.
Oh, okay, so the mom's died.
I think the mom is dead.
Yeah, I know. I thought both of them were, but yeah, you're okay. So at least one of them.
It was just the way that he says that.
Okay.
But maybe he's saying it to both of them. Maybe they're both dead. I don't know.
I did think they did pretty good casting with the dad.
Oh my god, he looked identical.
He looks like an older version of him.
Yes.
Like, it was very good. Even if they like put makeup on the guy to make him look older, which I think they did.
Sure.
And they did a pretty
was
good job
great.
of that too.
Yeah.
It's night now. So what the hell's
Oh my
he
god,
been
he's
doing?
been there for hours.
What's he been doing?
Hours.
He goes back to the house on a nice picturesque street. He's walking through this hedge field front yard, and he steps on his baseball glove and he picks it up in more nostalgic remembrance of days gone by of playing baseball and pickle sticks and spin the wheel and thumbnails and any other games from back then.
Right, yes.
Kick the can and spelling bees and scraped knees and pie cooling on a windowsill.
Are you gonna go into a song? I'm like waiting for it.
I was doing the Armin Tamzarian speech from that episode of The Simpsons. Well, if that's corny,
remember some of it.
then corn me up. The dad comes and stops him from clicking the bike bell, because he's clicking his, like, bike bell. He tells him he had to come back. This is his home. And he's like, this is my glove. He's like, look, I don't know who the hell you are, but you need to get the fuck off my property. He doesn't say it like that because it's Twilight Zone in the 1950s, but
No,
if this happened to you, you'd be
instead-
like, get the fuck off my property before I call the police.
Right. Instead, this man is way too calm. Like, the guy knows stuff about his 11-year-old son, right?
To be fair, being calm might be the thing.
Oh, sure.
Thing to do.
You gotta be calm with the crazy person. But I'm just saying, he seems overtly calm and, like, willing to talk to this guy. And then it just seems like he's willing to, like, go along with whatever this this weird thing is. So I can't tell if he, like, believes him or if he's just like, yeah, I'll go along with it. That's fine. It'll help him feel better. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he doesn't, because Martin's like, I'm home. I just need some rest. I'm clearly burnt out from work. Maybe this is just like some weird illusion. I need to go into my house. I need to take some rest. So he wants to go in the house. And the dad's like, no, you're not going to go in there. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not letting you in the house. I'm going to shoot you with a shotgun that I clearly have because it's 1930 or whatever the hell year it is. And the dad is like, you really need to leave. And then the mom comes out, and Martin grabs the mom and is like, Mom, could you fucking tell it's me? I'm Martin. I'm Martin, god damn it.
I'm your
And so,
son.
like, shaking her.
Yeah, he's shaking her like crazy.
We learned that he had a sister. She died when she was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to show him his driver's license.
And she
the mom
slaps him.
knocks him out of the hand and slaps him.
It's great.
That sets him back, too. Like, we get this classic zoom in on the face that the Twilight Zone would do, or, like, these dramatic, the old dramatic zoom in on the face type.
Right.
And he thinks, and he, like, pauses himself. And then he suddenly realizes that he wants to talk to Martin, and he runs off.
Yeah, he suddenly has this, like, oh my god, I need to talk to him. I need to.
Does the dad reveal that he's not there,
desperate.
that he's at the park?
I don't remember if he does.
Because how does he think, why does he think that he must be at the park? Or why doesn't he think that he's not in the house? Because wouldn't that be what you would think, like, oh, he's in the house?
Maybe he remembers the day because he was carving the thing, and he's like, I
sure.
remember going to the carousel afterwards, or something like that.
That's fair.
I think maybe he just remembers, like, if this is the day I was carving my name, I was also hanging out with my friends, we went to the carousel, like,
Yeah.
we were in the park.
Okay.
Or I always
So he
spent most of my time in the park.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why his
So-
bike would be at home. You'd think he'd have his bike, but...
So he suddenly wants to talk to Martin. He runs off. He goes to the park. There's a Dutch angle now to make you feel disoriented. There's a lot of people at this park. There's a lot of things going on. It's a summer night. They're all enjoying themselves. The merry-go-round's going around. And the merry-go-round is trying to make you disoriented, too, because it's spinning. It's all very good. There's a lot of... It's supposed to be, like, confusing. It's active. It works for me.
Right.
For just this little bit of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it being it works very well. He sees Martin on the merry-go-round,
Absolutely.
and he gets on
Yeah, he just jumps on this thing.
pretty well. And then I guess this is some merry-go-round that you rent out, Serling was saying on the commentary. The writer commentary was talking about all of the different little details that are in this, about the movement of the camera and how it all moves as he's chasing Martin, because he says, like,
Right.
Martin, Martin, and he starts chasing Martin around in the circle of the merry-go-round, and there's
And
like
it's,
this
like, from the
overhead
top
camera
down.
shot.
Yeah.
Which is it's a pretty good camera shot for a TV show from the 50s.
Right.
And all of this kind of stuff. And then little Martin, mini Marty,
Yeah, this man
falls
in
off-
a suit is tracing after you, so he's like running through the merry-go-round and then falls off the merry-go-round and hurts his leg.
And your dad probably said, if that man shows up again, like, run
run
home
away.
or something.
Right.
Yeah. So Marty falls off, breaks his leg. And as he does that, he ends up injuring the old Martin, because this is a
Connection.
time, it's
So he changed time, is I think what
Right.
happened.
Yeah, the doctor showed up and he's like, oh, well, now there's something wrong with the timeline and everything. So
We have to fix it.
a great shot here, and this actually holds the theory of it's a dream. Old Martin is walking through these kids, and they, like, ghostly kind of leave. Like, it's like, there's like a spotlight almost on him as he walks through the merry-go-round to go check on Martin, and he's, like, freaked out that he injured himself. The kids almost kind of angelically
Yes. They all, like...
getting enveloped in white.
Yes, and then they go into the darkness. It's like they all got off together and then slowly walked away. Like, nobody would have done that. It was a very weird...
It's eerie.
Yeah, it was very eerie.
And that's, I think, why it almost holds together more as being this...
Well, he went to the Twilight
Thoughts in
Zone.
his
It's the
head.
thoughts
True.
becoming reality. It's
Yep.
his nostalgia becoming a reality.
Yeah, it's
of,
this nostalgia
of
becoming
his
a reality.
own world going back into his hometown, and then it all breaking apart once he screws it up. Like, he screwed up his memories all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think that is supposed to be what it is, that he screwed up his memories. That's a good interpretation of it. I know that's probably not what Sterling was going for, clearly, based on that lecture, but the death of the author out of it, you can gain that from this episode, and I think it works. The interesting thing about this, if you watch it back, he walks between these two girls on the merry-go-round, and he's an adult, so he doesn't fit.
Right.
He tries to get past this one girl, and he ends up jamming her leg, like squeezing her leg, like pinching it against the horse. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Like, you try to, like, walk
yes.
past somebody, and you, like... So he did that to this girl, and you can see it in her eyes that she's, like, in pain, but she doesn't want to break.
Oh.
And she does it... Little girl, if you're out there, I mean, you'd be an old lady by now, but she does a very good job of staying in character, because
Yeah.
you can tell it hurt her.
Sure.
But she, like... presses
like, pinch,
on.
but she's just like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. The commentary for the pointed that out. I thought that was interesting.
This is when his dad shows up.
So he says that he just wanted to tell him, don't let it all go. You have to enjoy it all. Don't let any of it get away from you. And a silhouette appears around him, and he gives a soliloquy about how everything sucks now. Adult life sucks. It's nothing but pain and misery. You live and then you die, and life sucks for everyone, and it's just a big bowl of shit. And he's right. But, you know...
But you
Sometimes
find those
you
little
gotta-
things, like a podcast or some video games or a book.
That's right.
Or some, like, wonderful adventure in the nature, you know, and that's the good things that you can do. You just have to find the good things, which we can actually have this talk now with the dad. The dad comes back.
Because that's what the dad comes to tell
Yeah.
him. Yeah. He's
Which
sitting at the
also
merry-go-round.
felt very... his whole brain is broken, and now he's like, I need my dad to come fix me so I can go home. Like, actually, like, go back to my time. That's where my head with this went.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he didn't actually time
He
travel
didn't
per
time
se, but it's like
travel.
his
Yeah.
thing is...
Yeah.
It just came out, and now it's
Right.
reality.
Well, and even like you were saying, he has no internal monologue. He like
It's all out.
He's doing it all. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like this is just the visualization of all of that. He tells old Martin
Dad Sloan.
that young Martin, Dad Sloan tells old Martin that young Martin is going to have a limp, but he'll be all right. And I was like, well, yeah, he'd have disappeared if he's not going to be okay. We know
Oh,
that
sure.
from Back to the Future rules. Dad says, you are Martin. You are 36. Your license expires in 1960. And he knows he came a long way in a long time. and he knows things that will happen. Martin tells the dad, like, I know some stuff's gonna happen. This is where I thought the dad was dead too, because he's like, he almost like wanted to tell the dad, like, you get cancer, you die, like, you have a heart attack,
you
like,
could
whatever.
be right. You could be right. I mean, he might be also saying, like, you said she shouldn't be here, and so you're like, what happens to your mom? Like,
Yeah,
do you
and
know
he doesn't want
stuff
to tell
that's
the
about to
dad.
happen? Like, maybe,
Yeah.
is there stuff I need to know?
Yeah.
Martin. Yes, Pop.
You have to leave here. There's no room. There's no place. Do you understand that?
I see that now, but I don't understand. Why not?
I guess because we only get one chance. Maybe there's only one summer to every customer. That little boy, the one I know, the one who belongs here, this is his summer, just as it was yours once. Don't make him share it.
Score is very sentimental at this point as well. It almost tries to make it like a poetic. To me, I think it's a lesson not to stay in nostalgia and not to stay in your own head about the nostalgia.
Right. You can't do anything about the past. You can't just like keep looking back. You have to look forward. You have to be in the moment.
He says, is it so bad where you're from? And he said, I just had to come back and listen to it and stop and breathe.
Maybe when you go back, Martin, you'll find that there are merry-go-rounds and band concerts where you are. Maybe you haven't been looking in the right place. You've been looking behind you, Martin. Try looking ahead.
You can stop and you can breathe and you can enjoy yourself and you can, like you were saying, find something nice in your world, in your time. Find that merry-go-round and go on it as an adult. Who gives a shit?
Find
if
that
that's
spark.
what makes you
Go
happy,
for a hike.
find what makes you
Swim.
happy.
Read a book, you know? Enjoy
like
drinks with your friends. Do whatever.
This is a problem that we face in society now. People are like, oh, I wish we could make it great again, or we could go back to the past or whatever. And it's like, it was never that good. You have rose-colored glasses, you have nostalgia.
Yeah, there's always like nice things about it, right?
Yeah.
But you can always make those nice things happen now. Like, why not?
Yeah.
They don't have to be
Make
exactly
your own,
the same.
Make your world now. You can always enjoy the stuff from your past.
Oh, yeah.
And it always comes off as, I hope it doesn't come off as hypocritical coming from a podcast that's talking about
Past things.
old things. But our whole point is we want to have fun with these things, that you should have them for posterity. You should have them as, almost like Martin is being told in this. If you want to go back and you want to enjoy fucking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because you put Day of the Dumpster on your shelf, if life is becoming stressful, go do it.
Go
but
enjoy
don't
it.
dwell.
Right.
Don't dwell in it.
Don't sit on it. That is not just like the only thing. Don't like put on those like blinders.
Your shelf should be ever expanding because you should be adding to the good things that are around you today. You should be enjoying the things that are around you today. Like you said, the activities and the outdoors, and always trying to make yourself continue to have memories and not dwell on only the memories that you had in the past.
Yeah. Shelf life lessons.
That's the shelf life lesson. That's why it's a heady episode, and I think that's why like I remember even watching it and being like, this one's got a deeper meaning.
Yeah, the deeper meaning is nice. The quirky lines and the quirky timeline of it.
Yeah.
You know.
He says, don't get bogged out in nostalgia. Don't take away something from others that others may enjoy just for your own benefit.
That too.
Star Wars fans.
That too.
Like
people who are like, oh, I hate this, so you have to hate this. Just enjoy the things you like. You don't have to be spouting all the things you hate all the time. You're just going to feel negative. You're going to make yourself feel negative.
Well, again, coming from a podcast that purposely picks out things that we think are going to be fun to pick on.
But we still enjoy it. The thing is, I might say it's not on the shelf. I might say, I don't really like this, but I'm enjoying the discussion. I love talking about stuff. Okay? So there.
I would say it's more of if somebody else likes something, you
Let
don't
them
have
like
to berate them about it. I think we've made that pretty damn clear on this show. That even if we say we don't like it, we think it's garbage or whatever, that doesn't mean that you...
It's totally
that doesn't
fine.
mean you can't like it.
Absolutely.
The fuck do I care? It's not true. You are living in a false world. But that's okay.
So don't come at me and tell me I'm wrong, because I'm just not going to listen.
So he goes for one last ride on the merry-go-round. and it spins him back to the 50s, I guess.
I think
like,
so.
it almost felt like that was the way to get back in.
I think so.
So he goes back to the drugstore, and there's loud youths, and rock and roll is playing. So we're clearly in the 50s. Oh, God, these fucking youths with their rock and roll and their their jazz cigarettes and what have you. And the guy at the counter is a young man now, and he asks for a chocolate ice cream with 3 scoops.
He asks
he's like,
for...
well,
Now, here's the thing. The man asks for a chocolate ice cream and 3 scoops, and then the guy goes, what kind? Like, what kind? Do you want chocolate? And the guy... He said chocolate ice cream.
He said chocolate.
He said a chocolate soda or whatever the heck. Dude, pay attention.
They got that goddamn rock music on. I can't hear a goddamn thing. He says that the 3 scoops will be extra. It's 35 cents. And I was like, fucking take it. It's 35 cents.
Only 35 cents.
I didn't do it. Should I do the inflation calculator on that 35 cents?
Oh, I'm so curious.
Would be $3.73 today. I'd still fucking take it. 3 scoop of ice cream float at like a place. That's pretty good.
That's not even that bad. It would totally be like a $5 to $10 thing in this world. There is no way that it's only $3.
Well, I don't know. Like your ice cream place by your house, I can get a 2 scoop cone for like $3.50.
And then they give you like 4 scoops because they just aren't paying attention.
Because they get it wrong and they make a mistake and they just keep adding it on. We'll get to that story someday. I don't even know when. I had this like bulbous thing of ice cream that's like as big as my head because they fucked up and they didn't want to say anything. But that's not that like $3.73. That's probably about right.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
So he is looking around. And he's like, whatever happened to Old Man Wilson? He's like, Old Man Wilson, he died about 15 years ago. Oh, Rachel, I did write down. I wrote down, he asked for chocolate, dumbass. So there you go.
I'm so glad you caught it too, because I was just like, dude, he specifically asked for a chocolate.
Can't hear a goddamn thing in here. He says he doesn't want the soda anymore. He's got a bum leg now, so he can't like sit for a long period of time or his leg gives out. And he's like, did you get that in the war? And he's like, I don't think so. Now, I feel like his whole life would have changed because of this leg.
I also feel like his entire life would have changed because of this leg.
Clearly this would have
it's
caused
like the
some
moment,
sort of...
you know? All of a sudden, you don't save your little brother from drowning in the lake, and your entire life changes. So, like, you'd think...
Yeah.
That he'd have some sort of consequence. Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm living in a fucking crack house now. Jimmy Stewart in this role would have been interesting. I think Gil Young actually does a pretty good job.
No, I think he's fine.
He is like, you know what? And then they're like, oh, yeah, the merry-go-round. They tore that down. And he's like, a little late for you. He's like, what? And he's like, a little late for you to be able to see it.
Right.
So I would be like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
This man. I think no wonder he didn't want the soda anymore. He's just like, God, I don't like this guy. I liked the old man who just kind of stared at me and was going like, what's with this guy?
The old man stared at me, but at least he didn't have a fucking attitude about it. So he walks out, and we get the closing narration as he gets back in the car. A changed man. Because now I think he's willing to now relax and like try to find the small things in life that even though if he's having a hard day at the office or whatever, he can find those things that he enjoys. That's what he needs to do is like find like, okay, what's a merry-go-round in today's world? Is it a merry-go-round? Is it a play? Is it a movie? What is it that's gonna like make me feel good or whatever? Mm-hmm. So mm-hmm. Rachel, what is the closing monologue that we get here from Serling?
Hopefully I found the right one. Martin Sloan, age 36, vice president in charge of media. Successful in most things, but not in the one effort that all men try at some time in their lives. Trying to go home again. Is that it?
Yeah, I've got like a whole big thing of it here, but I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, hold on.
It goes on forever.
And
the closing narration is
like
enormous.
all men, perhaps there'll be an occasion, maybe a summer night sometime, when he'll look up from what he's doing and listen to the distant music of a calliope, and hear the voices and the laughter of the people and the places of his past, and perhaps across his mind there'll fit a little errant wish that a man might not have have to become old, never outgrow the parks and the merry-go-rounds of his youth, and he'll smile then, too, because he'll know that it is just an errant wish, some wisp of a memory, not too important, really, some laughing ghost that would cross a man's mind, that are a part of the Twilight Zone. He does kind of just go on, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just goes on in that one.
But was he saying, like, might not have to become old, never outgrow the parks and the merry-go-round? I mean,
it's the
you
old
don't,
adage of
though.
put your childish toys away kind of thing.
But I think you can still
which
enjoy
I know we
those
disagree
things.
that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
I
you
guess
can.
I do
think
disagree it now that you...
Yeah. Because we think that you should still be able to enjoy those things. You shouldn't make them your personality. You shouldn't gatekeep.
Right.
You can make that something that you enjoy as a side, as a hobby, but you do need to move on and find things that you can add to that.
Yes.
It shouldn't be
only
I
that
love
one
Star
thing.
Wars and that's the only thing that you have in your life to hold on to.
Right.
You need to
Broaden.
have
just a
other
little bit.
things. Broaden, yeah.
Because it'll bring
You
more
can always
happiness
love
to
it.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, but you should always try to find something else, or at least try to enjoy other things as well. So, one thing that came up on the commentary from the writer that did this one, Rachel, that I thought was interesting just because of the way that he said it, because he said it very nonchalantly on the Blu-ray, was, oh yes, Gil Young, who eventually won an Oscar for supporting actor in the 60s, shot and murdered his wife in the 70s and then killed himself.
Oh my god, I was not expecting you to just, oh my god.
So, I guess Gil Young, the main character, Martin Sloan, in this, he did a Chris Benoit. He did a murder-suicide with his wife.
Oh my god.
So, he was 65, the wife was 31. They found that he,
half your age, okay.
Hey, I'm banking on that, thank you very much.
No, you're
so
not.
Then,
no, you're not. Take it back.
if I can get some hot piece of 31-year-old at a 65,
no, that's fine.
I'll take it.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Don't mean now. I mean when I'm in my 60s. What was I saying? No, so
he killed his wife.
Yeah, they don't know why he did it. There was no indication of there being anything like that would have given a reason. He was an alcoholic, though, by that point in his life. So, no idea.
So maybe it was something with the brain.
Yeah, but it was so, like, out of the blue, and it feels like this is probably, even though he won an Oscar, I can't remember what he won an Oscar for. I probably should know that if I look it up. But, like, this has got to be, like, one of his most everlasting things. But it was just so nonchalant when they were like, oh, yeah, 1978, he killed himself and his wife. It was just like, all right. He was married 5 times. After 3 weeks of marriage to Kim Schmidt, a 31-year-old German magazine editor, he's found dead in his apartment in Manhattan. Police surmise that Young shot his wife and then himself. He was face down on the floor of the bedroom, a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol in his hand. His wife was found face down beside him. Young had apparently shot himself in the mouth, and the bullet exited the back of his head. His wife was shot in the back of the head. No suicide note was found. No motive was ever discovered.
Wow. That's insane.
So there you go. So yeah, maybe it was just some weird... Yeah, his brain was just gone or something at that point. Who knows? But he won the Oscar for They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Don't know what that is, but that's what he got it for.
Okay.
So Rachel, after that bleakness that I threw out there, I needed to because I was like, that came out of nowhere. So I had to mention it.
Oh, of course.
Does walking distance have shelf life?
For me, this one, I might put it on the shelf just because I do like the concept of it, and it is memorable, and I like kind of the idea and the story for it. There are those little clunky lines and the little clunky, like, timeline and stuff, but I feel like overall, it kind of has, like, that message that I feel like fits for a lot of people, and you can kind of relate to this one a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially when you grow older.
Oh, for sure. So for me, I love this episode. I think it is clumsy, but it's so sincere.
Yeah,
the score is great.
Yeah.
The acting is great. It just works. And I don't know why it works, but I mean, it is because the direction is great, and the acting is good, and the score is fitting, and it being so sincere, I think that the message is part of it too. I would have watched this then for the first time in my early to mid 20s, and I remember it being stirring. That it like stirred emotions for me.
Oh, sure.
Not as much in this particular rewatch because I knew what I was getting into, but I just remember being like, wow, that was actually very poignant, and it just felt different compared to the prior episodes.
Sure.
And it's interesting because in 16mm Shrine, which was the last Twilight Zone episode that we covered, it's a similar thing where this woman is just stuck in her past and cannot get over
Absolutely.
it. And she ends up literally stuck in her past. So this one, it almost seems like, look, the past could have been great. You could have had a really fun childhood or anything like that. But being stuck in the past is not the way to go. And like in this, he like learns like not to be stuck in the past. So it's almost like the sequel.
It is almost like, see, this woman got stuck. He didn't. He was able to move on and like grow.
Yeah.
He probably could have also gotten trapped, just as she did.
Yes.
But
Yes.
he was
But
able
he
to
had
pull himself
learned
out.
the lesson.
Even his dad like helped pull him out technically of his own mind, out of his own past right there.
Mm-hmm. I think some of the people at the time mentioned that it's a very sensitive episode. Mm-hmm. It's a very sobering episode and everything, and there's not a hint of like irony with it, I guess, which that's why I'm saying like it's very genuine. It's maybe even compared to 60mm Shrine, which is like these old bags or whatever, that kind of thing. Even if the criticism that I've seen, like a little bit of it is like, not everybody has this like glowy side to their childhood or whatever. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be your childhood. It could be your college
any
years.
point
It
in
could be your
time.
30s. It could be when your kids were young. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's just hold on to those, but don't make it something that you dwell upon is the message. So
You get to keep
it's
them,
always
but
about
you don't
like,
have to like focus
keep them and
on
add
them.
on to them. Yeah. Which is kind of what Shelf Life is about.
That's right.
To be honest.
We
we are.
can keep this, but we also continue on and find others
we continue
that
on.
we can add to our collection.
That's kind of true.
It
That's
is.
kind of true. We kind of fit the message that that this show is trying to tell you. So yes, for me, this is on the shelf. I love this one. So that was Walking Distance. It is on the shelf. When we come back, after word from our fake sponsor, which, by the way, remember, whatever that product is, you probably should not be using it in the current day and age. I'm just gonna
Don't ever
warn
use
you.
it.
We will get into the next episode of The Twilight Zone, Escape Clause.